Hello, everyone, and welcome to this English learning story. Today, we are going to practice English using the shadowing technique. This means you listen to the narrator and then repeat what you hear. Shadowing helps you improve your pronunciation, speaking confidence, and rhythm in English. So, as you listen to this story, try to speak with me. Repeat the sentences after me or speak at the same time if you feel brave. Relax, breathe slowly, and enjoy this emotional and simple story about a girl who faces a big problem in an airport. It was a peaceful morning when Lena, a 19-year-old girl, woke up in her small room. She lived with her mother in a quiet neighborhood, and this day was very special for her. It was the first time she would travel alone to another country. She had dreamed about this moment since she was a child. She had saved money, planned everything, printed her ticket, and even packed her suitcase 3 times just to make sure nothing was missing. She stood in front of the mirror and looked at her reflection. Her hands were shaking a little. She felt excited, but she also felt scared. She had never been in an airport alone before, and she worried she might make a mistake. But still, she smiled at herself and whispered, "I can do this." After breakfast, her mother hugged her tightly and said, "Be brave, Lena. Don't worry too much. You are ready." Those words stayed in Lena's mind as she took a taxi to the airport. The airport was huge. People were walking fast, pulling bags behind them. Some were laughing, some were arguing, some were checking their phones, and some were rushing like time was running away from them. There were big screens showing flight numbers, and the air smelled like coffee and new journeys. Lena held her bag very close to her body. She checked her passport again and again. She felt safe when she touched it. She whispered, "Passport, boarding pass, phone. Yes, everything is here." She followed the signs until she found her airline counter. There were many people in line, so she waited patiently. She tried to calm her breathing. She looked at the people around her and wondered where they were going. Some looked relaxed, but others looked stressed, just like her. Finally, she reached the counter. The woman behind the desk smiled warmly and said, "Good morning. Passport, please." Lena reached into her bag and handed her the passport. The woman checked it, typed something into her computer, and said, "You're all set. Gate B12. Boarding starts in 1 hour. Have a nice flight." A wave of relief washed over Lena. This was easier than she expected. She thanked the woman and walked toward the security area. The security line moved slowly. When it was her turn, she put her backpack in a plastic tray and removed her shoes. She checked her pocket again to feel her passport. She touched it, and that made her feel safe. But then something strange happened. When she walked through the metal detector, it beeped loudly. The security officer told her to step aside. Lena's heart began to beat fast. She felt embarrassed as other passengers looked at her. The officer checked her pockets again and said, "It's just a small hairpin. You're fine." He gave it back to her, and she smiled shyly. She quickly grabbed her belongings from the tray and walked away. She did not know it yet, but something very important had just happened. After security, Lena found an empty seat near a big window. She sat down, looked at the airplanes, and felt calm again. She took out her phone to text her mother. "I'm inside. Everything is okay. I'm waiting for boarding." Her mother replied with a heart emoji, and that made Lena laugh softly. She drank a little water, checked the time, and watched people passing by. A little girl with a pink suitcase walked past her. A man wearing a business suit rushed to catch his flight. A couple argued quietly about which restaurant to try. Everything felt alive and full of stories. Lena reached into her bag to check her passport again, but when her fingers searched the pocket, they found nothing. She froze. She checked again. Still nothing. Her heart dropped. She opened every pocket in her bag. She looked under her seat. She stood up and shook the bag gently, but her passport was gone. Her eyes widened with fear. Her hands began to tremble. A cold feeling spread through her stomach. No, 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 please, no, she whispered. She could feel tears building behind her eyes. Maybe I put it in another pocket, she told herself. She knelt on the floor and searched more carefully. People started staring, but she didn't care. She felt panic rising like a wave she could not stop. She repeated in her mind, I had it at security. I touched it. I know I touched it. Then suddenly she remembered the moment when she rushed out after the metal detector beeped. She had been nervous. She had been embarrassed. She had grabbed her things quickly. Maybe she left her passport in the tray. Lena ran toward the security checkpoint. She almost fell when her shoe slid on the floor, but she kept running. Her breathing was heavy. Her chest hurt from fear. When she reached the security area, she stopped in front of a guard. Excuse me, she said, her voice shaking. I think I lost my passport. I think I left it in one of the trays. The guard looked at her calmly and said, What color is the passport? It's dark red, she replied quickly. The guard walked to a small desk and checked a pile of lost items, but he did not find anything. He shook his head gently and said, Sorry, nothing here. Maybe someone returned it somewhere else, or maybe someone took it by mistake. Lena's heart dropped again. She felt dizzy. She held onto the desk so she wouldn't fall. I have a flight in 30 minutes, she whispered. Her eyes were full of tears and her voice was breaking. I understand, the guard said kindly. Let's try to help you. Go to the customer service office. They can check more places. Lena thanked him and ran again. She followed the signs until she found a small office with a glass window. A woman inside was typing on a computer. Lena knocked on the window, almost crying. Please, she said. I lost my passport. My flight is soon. I need help. The woman asked for her name and flight number. She typed fast, checked calls, and looked through several lists, but after a few minutes, she shook her head softly. No one returned a passport matching your description. Lena felt her legs weaken. She sat down on a chair and covered her face with her hands. Tears finally escaped her eyes. She felt helpless, like a whole world was falling apart. She had worked so hard for this trip, and now everything was disappearing because of one small mistake. As she sat there crying, someone gently tapped her shoulder. She looked up slowly. A middle-aged woman with warm eyes stood in front of her. Are you the girl who lost her passport? The woman asked softly. Lena wiped her face. Yes, she whispered. The woman smiled and held up a dark red passport. Lena gasped so loudly that the people around them turned to look. That's mine, she said, her voice shaking. The woman explained, I think I accidentally picked it up at the security tray. Your passport was under my laptop. I only noticed when I sat down to eat. I hurried back to find you. Lena covered her mouth with her hands. Tears streamed down her face again, but now they were tears of relief. Thank you, she said. Thank you so much. I thought everything was ruined. The woman smiled gently and said, It's okay, dear. Take a deep breath. Go catch your flight. Lena hugged the passport tightly to her chest. She felt like life had given her a second chance. She checked the time. She had only 10 minutes before boarding closed. She ran. She ran faster than she ever had before. Her bag bounced against her side. Her hair flew behind her like a ribbon in the wind. People stepped aside as she passed. Her heart pounded loudly, but now she did not feel fear. She felt hope. When she reached gate B12, the staff member was just about to close the door. Wait! Lena yelled, raising her passport. The woman at the gate smiled and said, You made it just in time. Please board. Lena walked through the gate with shaky legs. As she entered the airplane, she felt a deep wave of relief and gratitude moving through her body. She found her seat and sat down slowly. Her body felt tired, but her heart felt stronger than ever. She looked out the window and watched the airport ground crew moving around. She thought about the panic, the fear, the tears, and the kindness of the stranger who saved her. She whispered to herself, I will never forget this day. When the plane took off, Lena felt something new inside her, not just excitement, but wisdom. She learned something important. Mistakes happen, fear comes, problems appear, but kindness and courage can always find a way through. Losing her passport felt like the end of everything, but in the end, it became the beginning of a powerful lesson. She closed her eyes and smiled softly as the airplane climbed into the sky. Congratulations! You finished this English learning story using the shadowing technique. Great job practicing your pronunciation, rhythm, and speaking confidence. Shadowing can feel difficult at first, but the more you do it, the more natural your English will become. If you enjoyed this emotional and simple story about Lena and her lost passport, make sure to watch the next story in this series. Each story will help you learn English in a fun and powerful way. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next lesson.